Hello and welcome everybody to Margdarshak 2. I am Dishi, your host of the day, and would like to start the proceeding by requesting first timer students to welcome the chief guest, Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia and Mr. Yashish Dahiya by presenting them with a bouquet. May I now request Mr. Somani to deliver the welcome address.
The chief guest of the day, Honorable Srimant Jyotiraditya Scindia, our guest of honor, Mr. Yashish Dahiya, distinguished members on the dais, Mr. Rajiv Dubey, Mr. Ajay Garg, distinguished guests and students. It's my privilege to welcome all of you on this morning of awards distribution of Margdarshak 2.0. When we embarked upon the first edition of Margdarshak Awards, we were very, very unsure. But then, as they say, one by one, the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle started falling in place, and despite COVID, we had a fair participation from the HR fraternity, and the eventual outcome was very, very good. As we all know, the objective of Margdarshak Awards is very, very noble. I don't want to be repetitive about it, but the fact is that an institute is known more by its students and its alumni, and the role of the faculty who keep working silently and tirelessly in shaping the careers of these students is often discounted. And now that I am running a business school myself, who would know it better than me? Having said that, the initial lot of faculty at IIM Ahmedabad were extremely tall in their stature. They were visionaries, they were institution builders, and they need to be recognized. With this ethos, we started Margdarshak Awards, which makes them unique. These awards are unique not only because of the thought behind the awards, but also because they are process-driven. I wish to categorically state that these awards are not bestowed, they are actually won by a very fair selection process which has been standardized and streamlined by KPMG. We started First Timer Business School in 2007 and now have a 15-year-old history. These 15 years have been full of challenges and struggles, but now we have stabilized. Sir, 15 years ago, when you laid the foundation of First Timer Business School, we just had 30 students. Today, the number has swelled close to 500. We have excellent faculty, very good placements, and an intake of intelligent and resilient students of nearly 300 every year, some of whom you can see over here. I am often asked what is our succession plan at First Timer. First Timer, as you know, was created by Friends of 73 of IIM Ahmedabad. And I'm glad to inform all of you here today from this platform that First Timer, as a part of continuation of the legacy, we are passing on the baton to the class of 96 of IIM Ahmedabad. Thus, the IMA legacy continues. We have here amongst us Mr. Ajay Garg, who is the prime mover of the class of 96, seated over here. So is Mr. Yashish Daya. He too is from the class of 96 of IMA. Mr. Ajay Garg and his batchmates have vowed to take first timer to the next level. Lastly, before we start the awards, I would like to use this opportunity to express my deep sense of gratitude to Srimad Jyotiraditya Scindia for having agreed to be here today despite his busy schedule. I have seen him work and work from close quarters. Very methodical, systematic, relentless in his follow-up, with nothing escaping his attention. And along with that, so empathetic and so helpful. I, for one, am a living example of the same. And I have no hesitation in stating this today from this platform, that whenever I've been down in the dumps, you have come forward with your helping hand. And that I am standing here today on this platform, a large credit for that goes to you, sir. So your presence today has taken these awards to a new level. And for that, Team Margdarshak shall eternally be grateful to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Somani. May I now invite Ms. Shivani from KPMG to explain the award process.
Good morning, everyone. Margdarshak Awards 2022 is organized by First IMA to commemorate the leading HR professionals. There were several entries that were received across 10 categories. 33 entries were shortlisted. The shortlisting process was divided into 2 rounds. There was interim jury, wherein the scores were provided from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. Then there was an advisory panel which went through the entries and made them final shortlists. This was then presented to the final jury, who ranked it from high to low, and thereby we have the winners today. Congratulations to all those who win today. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shivani. We now begin the award distribution. We will start with the category of Young Turk and move towards the Hall of Fame. Before I announce the awards, I would like to present to you all a message from Mr. K.V. Kamath, the senior most alumni amongst us today.
The First Team of Margdarshak Awards are a humble tribute to the outstanding faculty at IIMA who worked at the inception of this institution and in a way made it what it is today. Our heartfelt thanks to these faculty members who shaped us. I also must thank the team at KPMG, our advisory council, and the jury members for working on and selecting this list of people who are to be recognized today. My congratulations to all the winners. I must also compliment Gautam Kaul and Anil Somani for all the effort they put in. It's truly incredible hard work that has gone into getting these awards up and ready for the celebrations today. Lastly, I must apologize for not being there in person, as I have some commitments which I could not change around, and I will cheer you from a distance as all the winners receive these awards. Once again, all good wishes.
The award in the category of Young Turk of the Year is instituted in the memory of Professor Kamala Chaudhary, the first woman professor of management education in India. It goes to Ms. Pragya Singh, Associate Director HR, PepsiCo Global Business Services India.
Ms. Pragya Singh has been instrumental in fostering a culture of inclusion by enhancing the employee resource groups and by building awareness. ERGs have driven a strong sense of community and helped the organization achieve a retention rate of 87% in the year of Great Resignation versus the industry at 75%. Both men and women have similar organizational health scores of 78%, with inclusion index being at 80%. Survey on equal opportunity for people with diverse backgrounds has drawn a 76% favorable response. These results, significantly better than the industry benchmarks, have directly and indirectly contributed to business growth and stabilizing of operations.
Hearty congratulations, Ms. Singh. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me here. It's a great pleasure to get this award from Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia. Pretty much the reason why I came down here to take the award. So thank you so much for that. The reason for getting this award is even more special. The fact that I got to work on diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is a cause which is very, very close to my heart. And when I joined PepsiCo, I thought that this is an FMCG organization and probably will not be investing as much in diversity and inclusion because FMCG organizations are primarily sales and driven by the market conditions. But I was so pleasantly surprised with PepsiCo's visionary goal of having 50% diversity in management roles by the year 2025. And when the HR head of PepsiCo, Avantika Nigam, she gave me the responsibility to lead this agenda. I had actually never, ever led diversity, equity, and inclusion before, but this was a very exciting experience, and we've been market leaders in driving this. We are at 45% diversity, while most of our competitors would be nowhere close. I think 30% is the best that they can get in this era. And all of this happened in last 2 years, which were COVID years. And we had started a setup in Hyderabad. We started with 0 to 2,500 people when we were struck with COVID. So this was an exciting time, and thank you so much for this recognition. Thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Singh. Our next category of award is Talent Acquisition and Retention in the memory of Professor Suresh C. Kuchal, who has always referred to as Kuchal Sahab affectionately by his students. And the award goes to Mr. Girish Menon, Head HR Swiggy.
Mr. Girish Menon pioneered several HR processes in India and MNC startups, managing stakeholders in matrix organizations. Mr. Menon anchored several strategic initiatives, driving key people practices, talent management strategies, and OD interventions across multiple locations and across section of employees. These initiatives have given the organization an opportunity to think harder about what really matters, as opposed to what was considered important. These measures have also ensured that employees will work all 5 days of the week from their base location. This translates into the employees working out of 487 cities in 27 states and 4 UTs across the country.
Thank you so much. Such an honor to receive the award from you, sir. This award I dedicated to my team. I did very less to achieve this. My team really worked hard. More importantly, I'm happy that we really changed the way India eats. Now, I guess people do joke when I meet a lot of folks that I'm saving a lot of marriages because food is getting delivered on time. So you should thank a few lakh delivery partners out there. And happy that we're able to provide employment to so many people and really make a positive impact to economy in a small way. So thank you so much for acknowledging us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Menon. We now move on to the next category, which is Disruptor of the Year, instituted in the memory of Professor Pulin Garg. A very apt matching of the category and the faculty. This award goes to Miss Priyanka Kapoor, HR Leader, ZS Associates India.
Ms. Priyanka Kapoor has been instrumental in setting up the learning platform for an organization with a headcount of 14,000 employees. It has been named Ikigai of Coaching at ZS. Ms. Priyanka's first step was to define the now, near, far of coaching and re-establish the core purpose for which the coaching team existed. The Ikigai of Coaching at ZS showcased a need to move from what they are good at, coaching junior levels, towards what does ZS need. Coaching to be a strategic partner, support talent integration, performance and retention, and predict people trend.
Thank you, everyone. Extremely stoked to be here today amongst all you guys, and it's an immense pleasure and honor to be sharing the stage with you all. Thank you so much, Mr. Scindia, for taking out the time and being there for us today. The talent landscape in India, I feel, is changing, immensely. And we, within organizations, I think the talent leaders have to think very, very differently. For me, being the disruptor or, enabling disruptive thinking in HR simply also means that you need to have the courage to execute on your idea. And the right kind of ecosystem, I think, for a woman leader like me, both back home as well as within the organization, to really translate that. So I'm very, very thankful to the jury, to the folks here, very, very thankful to my folks back home, my parents, my supportive partner, the mature 6-year-old at my home, my 6-year-old son, Kabir, and a wonderful, wonderful organization and team that really supports looking at talent very, very differently in India today. Thank you so very much. Immensely honored once again to be receiving this today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ms. Kapoor. We now move to the category of Corporate Social Responsibility, instituted in the memory of Professor Ishwar Dayal, who is still remembered for his pipe and tobacco. The award goes to Ms. Aradhana Lal, Senior Vice President, Sustainability and ESG, and Mr. Rajesh Kumar, Senior Vice President, HR, Lemon Tree Hotels. How nice that there are 2 joint winners in this category.
Under the stewardship of Ms. Aradhana Lal and Mr. Rajesh Kumar, Mesa's Lemon Tree Hotel began its journey of hiring employees with special needs in 2007. Over the years, it has hired individuals with specific needs and collaboratively created an accessible and growth-oriented work environment for them. This includes individuals with physical disabilities, speech-hearing impairment, orthopedically handicapped, acid survivors, low vision and intellectual and development disability, Down syndrome, slow learner, mild MR, IDD and autism.
Very nice to be here. I am ex-alumni of IMA, as you know, Anilji. So it's a proud moment to be part of this fraternity as well today. And thank you all for being here, and thank you, Jyotiraditya. The work that Rajesh and I do at Lemon Tree Hotels is all around inclusion of people who normally don't get an opportunity to get a job. These are people who have disability, or they could be people from economically and socially marginalized backgrounds, people whose education is incomplete, people who never got a chance, really. And our company, by the way, completed 20 years just a few days ago, September. And this inclusion work has been going on for 15, so it's very much part of our culture. And I invite any one of you, and all of you in fact, to take a look at how people who are deaf, people who are autistic, people who have Down syndrome, acid survivors, dwarfs, abandoned children and orphans, all different sort of backgrounds are working in our teams in front office, food and beverage, housekeeping, engineering. So it's really well integrated. And we are happy to share how we got here with anybody, any organization who would like to know. Rajesh, something?
I'll just say thank you so much for recognizing our efforts. My colleague Aradhana have already spoken about this. Thank you so much once again. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Well done and congratulations, Ms. Lal and Mr. Kumar. Our next award is in the category Employee Engagement in the memory of Professor Vasant L. Mote, who is always remembered for his passion for motorbikes. And the winner is Mr. Yuvraj Srivastav, CHRO, Make My Trip.
With a background of 5 years in the armed forces, Mr. Yuvraj Srivastava has initiated several measures for employee engagement in his HR efforts, namely holiday experts, certified travel agents, Back to Future program, employee resource groups, to name some. Mr. Srivastava has been instrumental in establishing a strong feedback and communication culture to identify, build, manage, and provide the necessary impetus for professional growth. Mr. Srivastava believes that post-pandemic, newer hybrid work models will come into play with some degree of support for work-from-home employees. This will greatly contribute to the reduction of uncertainty and lack of trust around work-from-home issues.
Good morning, everyone. And I think we were not prepared that we need to make a speech here, so we are not very much geared up for this. Thank you so much, Mr. Sandhya. I think that family, you, your father, I think we have seen both of you right from our childhood, and getting an award from you is an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. My founder Deep and Rajesh have also conveyed their thanks to you and regards. So on behalf of Make My Trip, I think that we are a 20 years old organization which has been, now it's called as a evolved startup. Has always championed employee engagement right since beginning, and I think that what we realized, that if the founders and owners of the company are closer to employees, I think it goes great and it goes deeply in terms of creating a culture in the organization wherein people can be engaged. Last 2-3 years have been very, very serious for us, and you being a part of the similar fraternity and industry, you understand how travel had been affected. But all this, during these 3 years, the way we have been really close to the employees, the way we have taken care of, we have not let the travel get impacted with our passion and with the technology, has all been only because of the Make My Trip employees and the workforce. Congratulations to the team back home for winning this award on behalf of Fostima. Thanks to Fostima, Mr. Somani, for really conceptualizing this great award. And I must say that, when you talk about your teachers, and I think that shows the type of value and ethics the organization is going to have, and the institution is going to have. All the students from Fostima, you guys, bless you all, have a great career, and we from the corporate fraternity are always there to help you and see that you guys do well in your career. The best wishes to all of you. Thank you.
Hearty congratulations, Mr. Srivastav. We now move to the category of diversity and inclusion. This category is in the memory of Professor S.K. Bhattacharya, whom everybody remembers for his towering height and a booming voice. The winner is Ms. Swati Rustagi, Director HR, Amazon.
Ms. Swati Rustagi has been credited for leading Amazon's vision around a thriving, diverse workforce and an inclusive marketplace and workplace outside of North America. Ms. Rustagi was instrumental in introducing Virtual Customer Service 2017 to address customer requests remotely long before working from home was the new normal, and in an extension of Amazon's customer service network. This site will enable Amazon India to reach out to wider talent pool of women who prefer to work from home, as it seeks to bring greater diversity across its teams. This could include women who are resuming careers after a break, or women who require flexibility in their work schedule to attend to personal commitments during the day.
Thank you. An honor to receive the award from you, Shrimant Jyotiraditya Singh. Thank you so much. I think this award is special because it stands for teachers. And to receive something, I think it's always a pleasure, at least as I was studying and growing up, to have a teacher say you've done a good job. That's what we grow up with, and it matters. So I think when I look at all those professors and I see them, and I'm hoping that somewhere today they're blessing us and teaching us and being happy about what we've been able to do. So thank you for that. Our work here, and I want to say whatever we are achieving here, and many of us, I've learned from many on the front bench here. I've learned a lot from people who are on the stage here. So thank you for that. Thank you for teaching us. For us at Amazon, there have been two things that we've been focused on. And in my role, which is supporting all markets outside of North America, I think it's about keeping the flag of our country high as India, and to be able to lead that effort outside of the US and to stand tall and say we can teach the world has been very big for us. And we are very happy that we've been able to do it in a small way. It's a long, long journey. There's so much to be done, and our focus now is how are we going to do inclusive growth, which is about communities around us. And if we can even make a small difference, and we are learning from you, Aradhana, as well, if we can make a small difference in that, I think that would be a big achievement. Thank you so much.
Hearty congratulations, Ms. Rustagi. We now move ahead to the category of Excellence in Transformational Leadership, instituted in the memory of Professor Samuel Paul, a gentle soul and an intellectual giant. And the winner is Miss Manu Wadhwa, CHRO, Sony Pictures Networks India.
With a diverse career spanning across multiple industries and geographies, Ms. Manu Wadhwa has steered the workplace and people agenda of globally dynamic organizations like Sony Picture Networks, Coca-Cola, American Express, GE across the spectrum of roles involving culture, leadership, and talent, HR transformation, change, and digital innovation. Ms. Wadhwa has pioneered Alternate Work Agreement, which is a robust operational plan for in-office and remote working, ensuring business continuity.
Congratulations, Ms. Wadhwa.
I have a few words to say because it's an overwhelming feeling to be a part of this stage, which is filled with stars and accredited leaders themselves. So a big thank you first to Fosterma and then to Mr. Scindia for taking out your valuable time to be with us. When I think about transformational leadership, it's about your ability to change the game. And as I heard our Prime Minister talking about changing the game for India to become a global leader in thought and action, this award for me also stands for our ability in individual capacity or for our corporations to be able to do that and contribute to Prime Minister's agenda. So I thank you for really bestowing this honor. And at the same time, at Sony Pictures Networks, our endeavor is that everything that we do in terms of showcasing the content, it changes the social thread of the country and fosters it to become even more transformational. So I really, really wish to hope that there are many transformational leaders that come out of this room and continue to foster this growth, whether in corporate or in public policy or in anything that you do in life. So a big thank you once again and wish all the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Wadhwa. And now, rising above functional leadership, we move on to the category of Director of the Year, instituted in the memory of Professor Dwijendra Tripathi, the first Dean of IIMA. And the award goes to Ms. Anuradha Razdan, Executive Director, HUL, and CHRO, Unilever South Asia, Unilever Limited.
Ms. Aradhana Razdan is a strong believer in working closely with business leaders to drive an audacious change and transformation agenda, which integrates effectively with strategic vision to deliver pragmatic HR solutions. As a response to COVID, Ms. Razdan was instrumental in devising an ecosystem for 350,000 employees, families, and extended ecosystem, covering distributors, sales representatives, 3P employees, Shakti Ammas, to name some. Ms. Razdan also initiated Flex, an AI-based existing internal digital marketing along with communications, learning and well-being to keep people positive and poised for growth through a #HUL Stands Together campaign.
Good morning, and thank you very much. It's a real privilege to be receiving the award from the Honorable Minister and from the distinguished members on the stage today. First of all, thank you to the Fostuma Institute for instituting these awards and for recognizing functional excellence, and compliments on the many things you do, but particularly for driving the societal change that you are doing so perseveringly and which is so aligned to the values of my organization, HUL, that what's good for India is good for HUL. I'm receiving this award, but really there are many people who stand behind me in getting this recognition. My organization, HUL, my bosses and mentors who've nurtured my potential, my family who've truly been the wind beneath my wings, and of course my team who makes me shine every day. So thank you very much. A final word on Dr. Tripathi, in whose legacy this award has been named. And he was known as the father of business history in India. And so you will inspire us to keep following in your footsteps. Thank you very much.
Hearty congratulations, Ms. Razdan. And now, the much coveted Lifetime Achievement Award in the memory of Professor Ravi J. Mathai, the first full-time director of IIMA. The award goes to Mr. Vivek Patwardhan, Director, High-Tech Engineers Private Limited.
Mr. Vivek Patwardhan has made an immeasurable contribution in the HR field to cause of continuous learning and growth by creating a work culture of coaching and development where people could explore their ideas and experiment with new initiatives. An active blogger, Mr. Patwardhan writes on HR and IR issues which are very popular and widely read. Mr. Patwardhan will always be remembered for establishing the Thane HR group, which won wide acclaim at all the levels for organizing innovative programs without charging a single rupee to the participants.
Our very best congratulations, Mr. Patwardhan.
Thank you very much. Many thanks to you, Mr. Scindia, people on the dais, and also to FOSTIMA for giving me this award. Early in my career, I realized that the purpose of work is to make a better society. And my work proceeded on those lines, and therefore it does not stop even after retirement, which happened 13 years ago. I'm part of an NGO, and that work continues. And I seek blessings of everybody here to help me continue that work. I would also like to acknowledge the contribution made by my colleagues, my parents, my children, my wife, and my teachers, professors, in making me what I am today. Thanks once again to FOSTIMA, and thanks you again, Mr. Scindia.
Thank you, Mr. Patwardhan. And with this, we come to the crowning glory of Margdarshak Awards, the Hall of Fame. Instituted in the memory of Dr. Vikram A. Sarabhai, an institution amongst institution builders. The award goes to Mr. P. Dwarkanath, former HR Director, GSK Consumer Healthcare South Asia.
A stalwart amongst the HR fraternity, Mr. P. Dwarkanath has devoted his entire career to making HR an active business partner in decision-making and ensuring that HR practices serve the interest of all its stakeholders. Mr. Dwarkanath was at the forefront of HR initiatives during COVID, when several myths and assumptions gave way to digital transformations and innumerable other innovations. These initiatives have enabled the corporates to take a quantum leap from capability and outcomes to empowerment and flexibility.
Hearty congratulations, Mr. Dwarkanath.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone. I feel very humbled and honored and privileged to receive this award. I wish to thank Mr. Anil Somani and his team and FOSTIMA for instituting these awards. And this is the second year they're doing it. But I think what I want to highlight here is that these awards are for the HR fraternity. I have spent more than 50 years in the corporate world. I do not represent one company here. I represent 3 companies. I owe to my existence what I am today to DCM, the sort of senior management training scheme. I have gone through it and spent with them 9 years. We made me a corporate citizen. And 41 years association with GlaxoSmithKline, various capacities. I have not changed my name, I have not changed my profession, though I worked in different functions, but I continue to show passion for HR. And ultimately, but my company's name has changed 4 times. I think that is the beauty in HR. You never know what happens. My appointment letter was given in one company. By the time the name of the company has changed, so I've gone through many changes, and now I get my retirement benefits from Hindustan Levers. So I think that is the breadth. I think I want to give one appeal to all the students. You can opt for any career, but I think one thing is important, which has been demonstrated by the government in last 8 years and reinforced. People makes a difference. I think it's important. You need to have young talent, give them opportunities. I don't know, when I say Hall of Fame, I cannot say only unless Ms. Somani says time for you to say goodbye. I just want to continue. It is not lifetime achievement, Vivek, but it's a Hall of Fame. I really owe to this, and I have to say, I have to thank, apart from the jury, my parents, my family, and the Dr. Charatram, Mr. Analjit Singh, or Sir Simon Scarf, and many others whom I can't say, my teachers, who made me what I am today. I really owe to it, and this 52 years, I had a great career, and any offer, any help I can do for anyone, be it a mentoring on a very voluntary basis, I'm always happy to stay in touch with them. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Thank you very much, sir. It's a privilege to receive from you.
Thank you, Mr. Dwarkanath. May I now request Mr. Rajiv Dubey to share his thoughts with the guests.
Thank you very much. It's a real privilege and very inspiring, A, to have been part of this process, and B, to be here with so many people who are changing the face of India and the world. So two things. I think it's an amazing time to be an Indian especially. The potential is unlimited, and I believe that a lot of us here are people who are working full-time to unleash the potential of people and of ecosystem to achieve a purpose. And that purpose ultimately has to be to remove poverty, to remove disease, to remove the lack of education, and to create a better world. And I'm proud to have been a part of the HR fraternity. Dwarka Garu, I also live on, although I have retired, but not retired from life. So thank you very much. Truly inspiring, and may all of you grow up and make a difference, change the game, and be gurus in your own right. Good luck, God bless, and thank you, Fastima, for instituting this amazing movement. I don't say it's an award, it's a movement you're creating and made prosper and grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dubey. I now invite Mr. Yashish Dahiya to address the gathering.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Scindia, for taking out the time for this. I first learned about Margdarshak Awards last year from our HR head, Shambhavi Solanki, who won one of the awards last year. And quite honestly, I did not know enough till I came here today. Because I think the quality of awards and the quality of awardees was extremely stunning. I think that obviously the judges that I saw before walking in here seem to be stellar. KPMG's diligence seems to be awesome. So congratulations, sir, for conducting, and this is just the second year, and the second year to achieve this level of quality. And as you said, I think people are the prime movers. I always thought I was the HR head of my company till I realized Shambhavi was the HR head. But clearly she's doing a phenomenal job. So thank you all very much, and great, good luck here. Bye now.
May I now request the Honorable Minister to address the gathering. And with your permission, sir, if you have the time, our students may like to ask you some questions afterwards.
Seated on the dais with me, a friend of the family, a person who in his own very soft-mannered way has changed many people's lives. Anil Somani Sahib, seated on the dais, a person with whom I have interacted very deeply over the last year and a half, and his depth, his capability of understanding soft issues is truly immense. Shri Rajiv Dubey ji, seated on the dais with me, Yashish Dahiya Sahab, Ajay Garg ji, all are wonderful awardees today. And like Yashish said, I was not pleasantly surprised, but I was very motivated myself when I heard the stories from Pragya, Priyanka, Aradhana ji, Rajesh, Yuvraj, Srivastav ji, Swati ji, Manu ji, Anuradha ji, Vivek Patwardhan ji, Dwarkanath ji. And along with them, members of the Fostima family in this auditorium, and my young friends. It truly is an honor and a pleasure to be amongst all of you today. Fostima is an institution that I have seen candidly from a fair distance, but today is an institution that I have experienced along with many of you. And I must commend Somani ji for the journey that he has traversed. From picking up the gauntlet and taking up that challenge to set up an institution that will produce leaders of tomorrow. And let me be very candid, Somani ji, until Yashish actually explained, I didn't understand quite frankly what Fostima stood for. And he explained to me today that it's Friends of the IIM Ahmedabad. And that's how Fostima has come to be. I always thought in my mind in the last 10 years when you talked to me about Fostima as to why you coined that name. And today it's become apparent to me. And therein also lies a tremendous story. A story of bonds, a story of friendship, a story of kinship. And it will not be wrong for me to say a story of family. And never before have I seen such a coupling between an age-old, renowned institution and the spawning of a new institution. And this continual reinvigoration between the seminal institution, which is IIM Ahmedabad, and the spawned institution, which is Fostima, brings alive time and time again new thinking, new paradigms, and new approaches. It's a model that I have never seen in any other part of the world. And that's why I was in deep engagement with Yashish, trying to actually understand how this works. Because when you say the class of 73 has come in or a class of 96 has come in, what does that actually mean? And the very fact that every decade, every 15 years, a new linkage is being formed, that itself tells you the story of an institution that is supposed to teach you its MBA program, but at its core essence, lies its capability in human resource building. So I'd like to commend you today, Somani ji, in terms of an amazing enterprise that you've created. And while I talk about that, I'd also like to congratulate you, the jury, for the event that you have created today. In life, we don't always pay that much attention to the more important blocks of what constitutes success. We look at an individual, we look at an institution, and that for us embodies success. But what are the levers that have allowed that success to play its path? And for example, today, when a lot of our awardees came on the stage, there were conversations, there were snippets about people that have impacted their lives, people that have made them who they are today. Not only in terms of the success that they have achieved, but also in terms of the values and morals that they enshrine today. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, success as a corporate, success as an institution, success as an individual is not about square boxes, but it is more about round circles. It is the people that impact you that make you what you are today. And therefore, even within institutions, within corporates, within individuals, we tend to pay a lot of attention on EBITDA margins, return on equity, your WACC, weighted average cost of capital, your NPV value, what discount rate are you using, what's your terminal value. But all of that aside, that is the bone structure and the skeletal of a human being. But the Atma is always human resource. The soul is always human resource. And that applies across the world, in any walk of life that you may belong to. Whether you're an academician, whether you're a medical doctor, whether you're an engineer, whether you're an NGO, a social service-oriented person, always remember this, that you're only as strong as the weakest link in your team. So build people. Work on people's strengths. Balance weaknesses with strengths. Encourage people. And the work that one of our awardees have done with our differently abled people, hats off to you. You really struck an emotional chord within me. If we want to make India into a Vishwaguru, if we want to convert Bharat into a Vishwaguru, that will only be possible when 140 crore Indians become a part of that enterprise. And I was not pleasantly surprised, let me tell you, When I saw this list of awardees, पुरुष अल्पसंख्यक हो गए हैं और महिलाएं बहुसंख्यक हो गई हैं। For minority human beings, and that is the way it should be. Because if you want India to change, if you want India to transform, it cannot be done by 50% of the population alone. And I would like to see Somani ji, कि हम पुरुष लोगों को आप इस मंच पे भी अल्पसंख्यक बनाइए। वर्तमान में यहाँ कोई विविधता नहीं है, कोई डिवर्सिटी नहीं है। हमको आप ऑडियंस में बैठाइए और जिन लोगों को हमने पुरस्कृत किया है उनको आप मंच पे बैठाइए। That is our story, ladies and gentlemen. India's time has come. There's no power in the world that can deny our place in the Comity of Nations. But we have to make that happen. And the only way that we can make that happen is if we empower lives. We change the way we function. And that's where HR comes in. 30, 40 years ago, I had the honor of going to one of the best business schools in the world. And maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago, the Margdarshaks that we have awarded today, human resource was not a major component of an MBA program. In my 2 years at Stanford, from 1999 to 2001, HR had become the fundamental of our MBA program. And I'll tell you a very interesting story. Like everything else in life, you can't have the best of everything. So like Dwarkanath ji and many of our professors that we have honored today through these awards, there are some courses where our professors are celebrities. Not because they are big names, but just because of the content in terms of what they teach. And therefore, some courses at Stanford, even though our class is very small, it's only about 360 kids, students, not kids anymore, per year. So for some courses, during your stay at Stanford, you have one silver bullet. And you can use that silver bullet to apply for that one course that you really want to take. Because there's so much of demand for some courses. So the demand for this course is the highest amongst the top 10 courses at Stanford. So a lot of people use their silver bullet. And what is this course? This is not a course where you have a whiteboard and you have a professor going through a case study. But it's a course where you discover yourself. And so you're divided into groups of 6 or 8, and you spend the whole semester together in that group of 6 or 8, in a class of, let's say, 70, 80. And you have to mandatorily spend a minimum of 30 to 40 hours per week together. You talk, You eat, you drink, you spend time together. And during that time together, you're supposed to be completely vocal and free about each other. And so the time I spend in my group, let's say with these 10 ladies and gentlemen, suddenly one day Pragya turns around and says to me, you know, there's something that you said the other day, I didn't quite like that. And I perceived it like this. And then begins a conversation on Pragya's comment and my behavior. And then the next day, Dwarkanath ji picks up a comment about what Patwardhan Sahib has said, or some behavioral attitude of his. And so through this process, you discover many things about yourself. There are many things innately that you think you represent, but it doesn't matter what you think. It matters what the perception of others is about you. And therefore, through this course, you begin to discover yourself. And at the end of the course, there is a recording that is given to you. 3 minutes by each individual. So, Swati ji will say something, Madhu ji will say something, Yuvraj ji will say something, Anuradha ji will say something. And that CD or that USB or that recording must stay with you for the rest of your life. Because every 3 or 4 years you listen to this. And you learn and you remember what you learned about yourself in this course. So मेरा कहने का तात्पर्य ये है that the essence is not about spreadsheets or numbers. The essence is about the core, which is about yourself. And that is what human resource represents. What our awardees have done is that they have contributed to where their organizations are today. Because the most important thing is to keep your family happy. If your family is a happy family, if your family is an inspired family, if your family is an aspirational family, those bottom line results will come because people are motivated. And so I'd like to give a hearty round of applause to our awardees today. That's not loud enough for me. That still is not loud enough for me. Because what they have done is they have not built their institutions. These are the ladies and gentlemen that are going to go on and build India for us. Thank you very much for having me.
Now, if our students would like to ask some questions.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Hi.
My name is Kanika Bedi, and I'm here to ask you a question.
What do you do?
I am currently pursuing my post-graduation in marketing and finance.
Marketing and finance, okay.
Yeah.
And what do you want to, what's your ambition? What do you want to do?
I want to be a portfolio manager.
You want to be a portfolio manager? Yeah. Okay, great. Tell me.
So I was hearing about your Stanford experience. I want to know, like, what is the difference between the American students and the Indian students you face, like you see?
Well, that's a very good question. I'd like to change your question. What's your name again?
Kanika.
Okay, Kanika, I'd just like to change your question slightly. I firmly believe in terms of... so going back to what I talked about, in terms of intellectual capability, in terms of intelligence...
Both.
In terms of both those issues, I think that Indian students are way beyond the curve. Okay? But along with that comment, what's really important, and that goes to the point that I made during what I was intending to, was a short address but turned into a long address, is that what's important in life is not only IQ. What's as important, or if I may say so, is even more important, is EQ. So along with an intelligence quotient in life, you must make sure that you have a very high emotional quotient.
Okay.
Right? And that's the essence of the comment that I made during my address. So what I believe is the difference between the Indian system and the American system is not necessarily the level of IQ or EQ between our students and the students there. But what I think is different is the system of education, the pedagogy. So let me give you an example. So when I was in Stanford for 2 years, first of all, within India, we have this theory that पढ़ाई करना है तो पढ़ाई करना है. तो क्लास 12 ख़त्म हो गया तो कॉलेज चले जाओ, कॉलेज ख़त्म हो गया. अच्छा, बाय द वे, कॉलेज भी जाओगे तो अंडर ग्रेजुएट में जनरल BA नहीं करना है, BBA करो. Get into your area of focus, wherever you want to focus on, whichever vertical. So the first difference is that this brain is in an expansive mode until your mid-20s. So what we need to do to this brain is we need to be able to stretch it like a rubber band as far as possible. And therefore, it's very important from the age of 18 to 22 that our children don't necessarily get a vertical expertise, but really get a horizontal exposure. So when I went to college at Harvard as an undergrad, our first year, you're not allowed to choose a major. Mandatorily, you have to take courses across the spectrum, from math to sciences to philosophy to anthropology to language to whatever else. And why? Because they want you to go through a journey of discovery. Not necessarily discovering only what you like, but also discovering what is it that you don't like. That's as important in life. Similar to getting your jobs. Why must you do internships? And I'd strongly recommend to all of you that you must do internships. Because through that process, that experiential process, you learn what is it that you want to do and what is it that you don't want to do. So the first comment that I want to make is that the system of education is much more horizontal rather than a vertical system. The second, and I found that a little surprising, because I finished my undergrad in 1993, and then I was a banker for 5 or 6 years. And I only applied to business school after that. And I thought I'd be one of the oldest in my class at 20, I think I was 28. Yeah. So what's the average age here? Let me ask you.
20, 23, 24.
21, 22? 23? Yeah. Way too early. Way too early. And I'll tell you why. In your institution, do you do stuff by case studies?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'll tell you why. So I didn't understand this myself. The reason is that the aim of a business school is what? It's not to bring you in and make sure that there's learning by rote and you're able to do those spreadsheets and get out and get a great job as a banker or a consultant or with PepsiCo or with Lemon Tree or wherever else. It's really to learn from each other. And the only way you'll be able to learn from each other is if actually you've gone and experienced life. Because then when you come into business school, you're bringing with you a whole gamut of experiences. And so when Professor Dubey or Professor Dwarkanathji get up on the dais and are going through a case study, you'll say, oh, hold on, wait. I went through something like this in my work experience, and this is what we did in our company. So let me give you an example. In my cohort at Stanford, I had a medical doctor who wanted to change track and go from being a medical doctor to becoming a private equity guy in the area of pharmaceuticals. That's why he came to business school. I had, you will not believe, the head of the New York Philharmonic Orchestra as my classmate. So she was the head of the New York Philharmonic. Leadership, HR. Okay? I had a friend in my class who flew in the Iraq War. So he's a pilot. So when you put this sort of a group together, the vivid and varied experiences that you'll get out of it is mind-blowing. And that's the kind of environment that we need to create in our business schools in India. And I hope FOSTEMA is going to be one of the institutions that will try and create that system, because we do not want to create just numbers coming out of our institution. We don't want to shape minds. We want to shape hearts, because hearts lie at the true value of success.
Thank you so much, sir. But listening to your experience, I want to ask, like, during your education, there were a lot of assignments and a lot of, courses you were learning at one time. There must be a lot of pressure on you. Like, how do you manage that pressure with your, lot of things?
So that's true. One of the things that you have to imbibe and go through is to be able to work under pressure. And there are a lot of things on your plate. You take 5 or 6 courses a semester. You've got a hell of a lot of reading. We used to do 200, 250 pages of reading a day, right? And the key there is to be really, again, we used to form small study groups for every course. So there were 3-4 of us that used to work together and study together. So I think, again, their collaboration, leaning on each other. So an area that I was really weak, in my study group, I'd have someone who's be really strong. And an area where she was really weak, I would be strong. And so you learn that team building happens through that process. So collaborate. Do not work in silos. Work with each other. But certainly, in certain areas, there has to be ingenuity that comes in. Your papers, the way you process things together. And that expertise is also imparted to you through the institution. But working under pressure is a good training. It's a damn good training. I was a banker, and there were nights when I never went home. I literally went home to take a shower, brush my teeth, put on my next suit, and go back to work, right? And that actually produces good metal out of you. So don't shy away from pressure. Welcome it. Take it up with open arms. And that's going to make you a leader. That's going to make you successful in life. Last question, because I have to rush. If there is any left. Yes, the gentleman there.
Hello. Sir, my name is Nitish Kumar. I am from First Time Business School and I come from Bihar. Sir, मैं आपसे
Nitish, क्या करना चाहते हो? What do you want to do in life?
I want to become a successful business tycoon, sir.
Good, okay.
सर मेरा ये क्वेश्चन है कि कोई स्टूडेंट अगर सबसे अच्छा इंग्लिश में अच्छा हो बोलने में, बट क्या वो सेल्स में अच्छा हो सकता है? क्योंकि सर आई एम फेसिंग अ सम चैलेंज एट दिस टाइम, क्योंकि फर्स्ट टाइम में प्लेसमेंट सेल चल रहा है और मैं एक कंपनी में बैठा जहाँ पर मुझे सेल्स के लिए बोला, मैंने सब कुछ आंसर दिया बट उन्होंने इंग्लिश में मुझे बाहर कर दिया. बट क्या ये सही है सर कि जो बच्चा सबसे अच्छा इंग्लिश बोलता है वो सबसे अच्छा सेल्स में है, सेल्स कर सकता है? डू यू थिंक?
बिल्कुल नहीं. सेल्स भी एक आर्ट होती है, कला होती है. सेल्स एक साइंस नहीं है, एक आविष्कार नहीं है, एक कला होती है. और चाहे सेल्स हो चाहे मार्केटिंग हो, जो आपकी शैली है, आपकी क्षमता है, चाहे वो कोई सी भी भाषा में हो, अगर आप लोगों को वो विश्वास दिला सकते हैं कि केवल ये प्रोडक्ट आपके लिए उपयुक्त नहीं है, लेकिन प्रोडक्ट के अतिरिक्त हम लोगों का जो आफ्टर सेल्स सर्विस सिस्टम है, हम आप लोगों के साथ खड़े रहेंगे, अगर कोई कठिनाई होगी मेरा नंबर लेना आप, हम आपके लिए उपस्थित रहेंगे, वो कॉन्फिडेंस और वो विश्वास उपभोक्ता में आप पैदा कर पाओगे तो आप एक सुपर सेल्समैन बन जाओगे। तो भाषा का कोई नियंत्रण ना कोई बाधा सेल्स पे कभी हो सकता है।
यस सर, एक क्वेश्चन का सर, एक क्वेश्चन आ रहा है मेरे पास, जो स्टेट ऑफ
संसद में हमको एक ही प्रश्न अलाउ किया था।
सर
नहीं पूछो नितेश
सर। स्टेट ऑफ एजुकेशन रिपोर्ट 2021 के तहत सर 1.2 लाख जो स्कूल है, उसमें से वन स्कूल रन बाय द वन टीचर, जो 89% जो स्कूल है सर, सबसे ज़्यादा वो रूरल एरिया में है सर। वहाँ से सर स्ट्रॉन्ग बच्चे नहीं निकल पाते। जैसे आज मैं बिहार से हूँ सर, मैं टिकैतपुर गांव से हूँ, बट यहाँ मैं फर्स्ट टाइम पहुँच गया क्योंकि मेरे पास कुछ पैसे थे तो मैं पहुँच गया। बट बहुत सारे अनटैप्ड वहाँ पर सर ऐसे बच्चे हैं जो कुछ कर सकते हैं आगे जाकर, पर उनको ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म नहीं मिलता। तो सर उसके लिए क्या करना चाहिए सर?
नितेश, मैं आपको बताऊँ, प्रश्न ये है कि क्या बिजनेस स्कूल या ऐसा वातावरण अनिवार्य है सफलता के लिए? और मेरा संक्षिप्त उत्तर उसके लिए है सरासर नहीं। मनुष्य में जो क्षमता है, जो एक जागरूकता होती है, एक प्रतिस्पर्धा में उज्जवल होकर आगे आना की क्षमता होती है, वो किसी संगठनात्मक या किसी ढांचे के आधार पर कैद नहीं किया जा सकता।
यस सर।
विश्व भर में आप देखो, जितनी भी, अब ये नियम मैं नहीं बनाना चाहता, पर जितनी भी सबसे बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियां हैं, उसमें से कितने जो उन कंपनी के फाउंडर संस्थापक रहे, वे सारे के सारे कॉलेज ड्रॉप आउट्स रहे थे।
यस सर, यस यस सर।
तो ये कोई नियम नहीं है। शिक्षा क्या करता है? शिक्षा जो आपके अंतर आत्मा और अंदर एक हुनर है, उसे खिलाने का कार्य करता है।
यस सर।
पर वो हुनर तो आप में है ही ना।
यस सर।
तो कभी ये मत समझना कि ये कोई पाबंदी है या ये कोई गति अवरोधक हो सकता है आपकी सफलता में। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर।
Thank you, sir, for the deep and rich insights you have given us today. These will go a long way in enriching the next Margdarshak Awards. FOSTEMA will always be thankful to you for being with us on this day. Thanks to your support, we are sure that Margdarshak Awards will be soon the most coveted awards. May I now request Mr. Gautam Kaul to present the citation memento to the chief guest.
Thank you, sir.
May I now invite all the winners and the dignitaries on the dais for a group photograph with the chief guest. May I request Mr. Ajay Garg to propose the vote of thanks?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. Looks like he's leaving.
I thought you were supposed to.
But it's okay. We'll can drop it. We'll just finish. I guess that's what happens when you have someone in the mix who has more busy time on the schedule. So I'll just take a couple of minutes. Thanks everyone to be part of this lovely morning today. Thanks Yashish. Thanks all the awardees. Being part of the country's investment in creating IIMs and IITs in some time, which is sort of, an important decision taken in the early 60s to take some money out of a socialistic country budget and put in those institutions, has created a community which is aspiring to all of us. And we, as a batch of 96, want to emulate what we saw Anil and Jerry, Sunil, and all his batchmates of 73 started what we call creating a nice institution for STEMA, where we could get, I was very heartened to hear Nitish from Bihar saying that this is a good platform which he's sort of looking for. This is what our aspirations were. We want to really take this, our own learning as a MBA pass out for the last 25 years, and all the learnings which we have, to give it part to the society in a platform like FOSTEMA, and encourage more and more such institutions to be created. So because I think we have millions and millions out there who need an opportunity, and I think this is what the whole initiative has been thought about it, and we hope to emulate the footsteps which Anil has set up. As Anil very rightly said, it's just providing the continuity to the vision which was set by the batch of 73. Today morning, I'm delighted to have all of you here, and congratulations to all the awardees. It's, I guess, all aspirational companies, which I think all of our batchmates and all of our students would be loved to be part of. So thanks for being with us today morning, and thanks for participating today. Bye.
The show is not over yet. Please have a seat. Mr. Jayatirath Rao, the pioneering spirit behind FOSTEMA, cannot join us this morning because of his book launch in New York. Would like you to hear his message.
All of you know that FOSTEMA Business School has its inspiration in more ways than one from the IIMs and IIM Ahmedabad in particular. One of the issues in our country is that we have forgotten some of our traditions of Guru Parampara, Guru Dakshina, Guru Seva, and in fact, other countries, particularly in the West, have adopted these traditions. In organizing the Margdarshak Awards, FOSTEMA wants to simultaneously make a connection with our ancient traditions, going back to days of antiquity, and also adopt a very modern American tradition of celebration. If you look at America, they give Oscar awards, Tony awards, this award, that award, Grammy award. They're always praising people. They're always felicitating people. They're always doing positive reinforcement for achievements, not negative carping criticism based on envy. So we wanted to combine these, the ancient Indian tradition of respecting and honoring one's gurus, and the modern, if you will, American tradition of celebrating success, achievement, and recognizing individuals with great emphasis and with great honor and dignity. And that is not surprising. IIM Ahmedabad, after all, is the joint product of the visionaries of Ahmedabad, like Kasturbai Lalbhai, Vikram Sarabhai, like Prakash Tandon, and so on, and the visionaries of Harvard Business School, like Roethlisberger, and so on. So it's not surprising that Faustima has chosen to combine these two traditions, one of honoring gurus, and two of honoring, felicitating, congratulating, publicizing, giving importance to current achievers. And that's what the Margdarshak Award is. We also noticed that while the finance function gets a lot of attention from the media and there are a lot of awards, there's a lot of hoo-ha about financial officers, that the HR function, which we believe is key, has not received the same level of attention. A country succeeds not because it has iron ore or oil. It succeeds because it has talented people who work together. It has trained people, skilled people, disciplined people who work to make the country great. If you look at a country like Korea, which has virtually no raw materials, and yet is today an OECD country, you realize the importance of talent. Which is why the HR function, which again, too often is confused with admin. Administration is important, but HR is not about admin. HR is about talent, talent, talent. Because talent makes a company great, talent makes an economy great, talent makes a country great. So we are focused in the Margdarshak Awards in honoring our gurus, some of the great names of IIM Ahmedabad, who tend to be forgotten, but without whom India's present achievements, including CEOs in multiple companies around the world, would not have been possible. And in honoring our present HR fraternity in India, whose bounden obligation and duty is to focus on talent, talent, talent. Talent acquisition, talent training, talent nurturing, talent retention. That's what the Margdarshak Awards are. I'm sorry I'm not able to be in Delhi to attend this function. Unfortunately, I had a prior commitment in New York where one of my books is being launched at the end of September, so I cannot come. But I am there in spirit, and I'm very grateful to our good friend, Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia, for agreeing to come, grace the occasion, and inspire the students and the awardees. I must tell you a small story about Minister Scindia, and then I will end. One day I had gone, along with a very eminent and distinguished person who will remain unnamed, and we were waiting outside the Prime Minister's office. Mr. Scindia came there with a delegation of his political supporters, and I was quietly sitting with my head down. I was not trying to create any gadbad out there. Mr. Scindia, from about 30 yards away, waves to me, says, "Hello, Jerry, how are you?" And he walks up, shakes my hand, and says some very nice, pleasant, informal, friendly, courteous things. That's the kind of person he is. He's a man of unmatched courtesy, extraordinary memory, not one who just uses you and walks away, but one who recognizes friendships, relationships. His relationship with Forstheimer is an old one. He was present at the first function where we inaugurated Forstheimer, and we are so happy and so grateful to him that he has come here for this extraordinary Margdarshak function, which is being held physically after all the COVID traumas and all digital stuff that we've been doing in the past. Thank you, sir. We look forward to our continuing association and to your good wishes in making Forstheimer and Margdarshak continue on this extraordinarily important path that we have undertaken. Thank you, and I wish the best for the function, and I'd like to congratulate all the awardees. And when I'm back in India, I hope I can call and or meet each one of them and personally congratulate them. Incidentally, I also intend to do that with all the runners-up, because I believe they too are very important in this process. Award winning is actually, to some extent, the culmination of the entire process, and those who participated in it and those who came up trumps, and for whatever reason, one way or the other, did not make it but almost made it. I think are people also that who need recognition and who need encouragement, and hopefully a 70-year-old man like me, if I do pick up the phone and call them or meet them, that would be helpful. So congratulations to the awardees, to the runners-up, and all the best for a great function. Thank you.
We also have a message from Mr. Rashesh Shaha.
Hello. Great to see that the Margdarshak Awards 2.0 have reached their culmination this evening, when the winners, the esteemed winners, will be honored by the Union Minister, Mr. Scindia. Unfortunately, because of my travel, I could not participate, though I was very keen to do that, and I regret not being there with all of you this evening. But from whatever I have participated, I can see that the Margdarshak Awards have become an exemplary and aspirational awards for the industry. My best wishes to all of you this evening, and heartiest congratulations to all the winners and my fellow alumnus, Anil and Gautam. Please keep the IMA flag flying. All the best. Thank you.
Now we have a message from Mr. Suresh Narayan. May I now request Professor Kaul to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. If I were to really do justice to my job of delivering a vote of thanks, I would need another long session, because there's so many people to thank. But I'll have to just confine myself to the thing. At the very outset, would like to express our deep gratitude to the Honorable Shri Jyotiraditya Scindia, Union Minister for Civil Aviation and Steel, for graciously presiding over the event in spite of having an impossibly hectic schedule. Would also like to express my appreciation to Mr. Dhaya for being with us this morning, to our glory to our alma mater. To the members of the august jury and advisory council, awardees, participants, and guests who were given Margdarshak Awards, the stature that they have attained. Of course, we cannot end without giving thanks to our chairman, first time Mrs. Mani, and the first timer family for last 1 month just did not know when Wednesday began and the next day ended. Would like to conclude that we look forward to the same unstinted support from you as we too move towards Margdarshak 3. Thank you everyone, and it's time for lunch.